Trump's new auto tariffs just went into effect, aimed at forcing automakers to build cars right here in the U.S.
What we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff.
But here's the problem. There's no such thing as a 100% American-made car. Not even close. Imagine finding out that your American car is actually Chinese. I've spent days digging through the data, and the truth is, even your most made-in-America vehicles rely on parts from all over the world. So what happens when we try to close the borders on an industry built on global trade? Because this isn't just about car parts and factories, it's about whether policy can match reality in an industry built on global connections. That's the real problem with building cars in America, and exactly what we're unpacking in this video. But let's be fair. If this bold move actually works, the payoff could be huge. Imagine this: more factories on American soil, more jobs for American workers, and less reliance on foreign countries for the parts that keep our cars running. It could mean stronger local economies, new investments in U.S. manufacturing, and even a step toward national security. Because when you control your own supply chains, you're less vulnerable when the world gets unpredictable. And if you're thinking, well, hey, that actually sounds pretty good, you're not wrong. The idea is that tariffs will pressure automakers to bring production home, invest in American labor, and shift the balance of power back to the U.S. It's a big bet, one that Trump says will pay off in the long run. But here's the catch: getting there won't be easy, and it sure won't come cheap. So let's get one thing straight. Trump's big plan is built on the idea that American cars should be made in America. Sounds simple, right? Except there's no such thing as a car that's truly 100% American-made. Let's look at the numbers. The Ford F150, America's top-selling truck, is assembled here, no doubt. But over 55% of its parts come from outside the US and Canada. Even Tesla, which prides itself on US manufacturing, relies on 25 to 40% foreign-sourced components. And that Cadillac CT4, built in the US, but only 15% of its parts are actually North American. Meanwhile, Honda's Acura ADX is made in Mexico, but 30% of its parts come from the US or Canada. So what does American-made even mean anymore? The truth is, every car today is the result of a global supply chain. A vehicle might be assembled in Michigan, but the engine could be from Mexico, the electronics from Japan, the transmission from Germany, and the battery materials from China. That's just how the industry works now. It's complex, interconnected, and not built for walls. And here's where it gets messy. These tariffs, they're not just aimed at foreign automakers. They hit American companies too. GM, Ford, even Tesla, all of them rely on parts that cross borders before ending up in your driveway. GM, for example, imports 49% of its vehicles. Ford imports around 20%, but still depends on global parts. So now, these companies could be penalized for the very system they've operated in for decades. So while this tariff push might sound patriotic on paper, in practice, it's like dropping a wrench into the gears of an industry that can't run without global parts. While the policy might be aimed at encouraging American manufacturing, the financial backlash for automakers is already intense. Take Stellantis, for example. Analysts estimate they could lose up to $7.1 billion in earnings because of the tariffs, wiping out nearly 75% of their annual profits. That's not just a hit, it's a gut punch to one of the largest automakers in the world. General Motors isn't far behind. Their CEO, Mary Barra, has already warned of $4 to $5 billion in losses, and the uncertainty is so severe that GM is pausing its stock buyback program just to manage the turbulence.
This warning from the CEO of the nation's largest automaker, General Motors, about the impact of the tariffs on the car industry. Mary Barra told shareholders the tariffs on imported cars and auto parts will cost GM between $4 to $5 billion this year alone.
And Ford? The New York Times reports they're bracing for a $1.5 billion profit cut in 2025 alone. Altogether, the tariffs could cost U.S. automakers over $100 billion in added expenses this year. This isn't a theoretical risk. It's happening now. But the biggest problem with this tariff plan? We're simply not ready. America doesn't have the infrastructure to support fully domestic car manufacturing. It's not just about factories. We're talking about the entire supply chain. Steel, aluminum, semiconductors, wiring harnesses, EV batteries, rare earth minerals. All the stuff that makes a car a car. We don't mine enough of the raw materials. We don't refine them at scale. We don't have the labor pipeline or the facilities to suddenly start building every single component on US soil. Analysts say moving just 10% of the supply chain back home could take 3 years and cost hundreds of billions of dollars. That's not a plan. That's a gamble. And in the meantime, automakers are stuck. If they do try to shift production, they face years of disruption. If they don't, they get hit with tariffs. It's a lose-lose, a bottleneck in a system that already can't meet demand. And guess who ends up footing the bill? You and me, the consumers. Before any of these tariffs, the average new car was already pushing $48,000. Now, with tariffs in play, Bank of America estimates prices could rise by as much as $10,000. Even in a best-case scenario, we're looking at an increase of $4,000 to $5,000 per car. That's not small change, especially when interest rates are high, used car prices are still inflated, and supply is tight. So what happens? Buyers hold off, sales drop, dealerships suffer, automakers lose leverage. And ironically, that America First push starts hurting the very people it claims to protect. It's a chain reaction, and it starts with a policy that ignored the complexity under the hood. So here's where we land. Trump's push to bring car manufacturing back to America is bold, maybe even necessary in the eyes of some. It's rooted in a desire for national self-reliance, job creation, and economic strength. And those are powerful goals. But ambition alone doesn't make something possible. Right now, the industry isn't ready. There's no such thing as a fully American-made car. The supply chains are global. The factories aren't in place. And as we've seen, companies like Stellantis, GM, and Ford are already feeling the financial pain, with billions in losses on the line. It's not just a political move. It's an economic gamble, one that could take years or decades to pay off, if it ever does. So what do you think? Is this the kind of bold vision America needs, or a costly detour with no clear destination? Let me know in the comments below. And if you made it this far, thank you. These videos take a lot of time and research to put together, so if you found it helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. Every bit of support helps me keep creating content like this.